Hey there. Welcome to episode 2 of PhD Weekly, where I go ahead and share a lesson or idea that I'm trying to implement, reflecting on my past week in grad school. But first, feelings update. So there's not really at least a word that I could think of, and I tried looking it up before this, but there's overwhelmed, there's underwhelmed, and then there's not really a word of like properly whelmed or just I'm feeling whelmed. But I guess, if that's not available, then I guess like I'm feeling productively stressed, where I'm not like overwhelmed with the stress and the courses and the homework and expectations and such, but it's like I think a good amount of like productive stress where I'm feeling, fairly stressed with like the classes and homework at this point, and not so much the homework, but more so just kind of the classes go very quickly. So you have to really just like after each class or whatever, if there's something you don't know, you have to jump on it really quick. And so I'm just not used to the pace at which the courses move at, and also not being in classes for like a bit now, at least a few years, 2 years, I think. The the expectation is definitely coming back. Oh, that's right. I forgot having to manage classes as well as research is definitely a different skill set than what I've gotten used to this last bit. So definitely, I think just the combination of having to balance both the coursework or the course expectations and like just keeping up with whatever's covered in lecture on top of trying to make progress in rotations, right? Trying to make progress in your research has definitely been a nice stress. Not overwhelmed, underwhelmed, just whelmed, right? So that's how we're feeling right now. Um, and then really, so the lesson for this week. So I'm coming to terms with, failure is part of the process, and so just learning to trust the process is definitely been the lesson for this week. I mean, speaking with the rest of my cohorts for the computational biology, like it's normal. Like all of last week, I felt like I was being productive, and then I realized the approach that I was using had a flaw in the first step, and so then the rest of the steps that I was doing were garbage because garbage in garbage out. So the first step that I did completely like changed the data, and so then I was using like bad data, and so that's normal. That's to be expected. I realized just talking with everybody else has different processes and steps that they were going through, and realizing was either broken or they had developed but had to adjust it, or was scripts and applications that were previously used in the lab but now we're realizing, oh, there's actually bugs in it, so now they have to take time to fix that instead of make progress on their work. So it's part of the research process really of of like just failing, but then you learn from that failure as well, right? So you fail together, learn together, grow together, kind of thing. So that's really the lesson for this week: learning to just trust the process. I think also having the classes and again that expectation of classes there also on the back burner while you're also trying to make progress in research, and kind of it's time that you have to spend towards classes and less time towards research. I think that adds to that frustration of the failure. At least for me, it certainly has. So it's been an interesting uh, thing to have to remanage again, just learning to manage your time. But again, just staying consistent, I think, has really helped with learning a lot of the material, keeping up with the material, just being on it. Using Anki has been a great help of like, all right, this is how after each lecture I've just gone into the habit of I'm gonna make Anki flashcards to review material, especially material I don't know really is the key. And since I'm taking a Foundations A, so it's like think of like a molecular biology class and like some genetics as well, all crushed and condensed into really one course. And so the idea is that any graduate student with whatever background you're coming from, we're going to teach you the material, we're going to teach you the concepts, so like that after this course you have a solid foundation of the biology wherever you choose to go, whether you're computational or purely wet lab, microbiology, whatever. You understand at least the molecular biology and the genetics behind what it is you're trying to do. And so it's a good class. Just yeah, just big expectations. So just adjusting to that. And then either the highlight or stressor for the week. I was really trying to think of like a highlight. I mean, I'm just like happy to be here, right? I'm happy to be in grad school. Um, no matter how stressful, whatever I know it's gonna be. So, but nothing like stuck out to me. Just chugging along, trying to get the work done, and really just trying to stay consistent. So no big highlight. Definitely a stressor though, as I mentioned. It's just like the classes again. Trying to, for me, I quantify like my not success, but like my like kind of, yeah, I guess success. Why not, right? Like my success for like each day, each for really the project or like progress. And so when I'm feeling like I'm not making as much progress in the research because I have to dedicate so much time to the studying, now I just have to kind of remind myself of like, okay, you're making progress in the studying, so that's still good, right? But it's weird. It's a different feeling of, usually I quantify the success that I'm making on my research just through progress and like kind of just small milestones. And so just feeling like I'm not able to like go through those milestones as quickly or as effectively as I'd hoped to go through, it's definitely been uh, an interesting adjustment in terms of just managing expectations and reminding myself that like studying for the classes, reviewing material, that's also important because remember, if you fail your classes, you don't continue with grad school, right? So that's why it's like you got to prioritize the classes, and I understand that. It's just it's just different, just managing those expectations. So, um, yeah, no highlight that I can think of. So and that's really the lesson for this week. Failure is part of the process. So trust the process, keep at it. It's all about how we respond to that failure, how we respond to the obstacles. So stay optimistic, learn from the mistakes, understand that failure that you're going to experience is part of the process, and just keep it on, and stay consistent with the good habits. I think is really helpful because like I know an exam's coming up in a few weeks, and because I've been more consistent with like actually making Anki flashcards and reviewing um, the slide decks of the lectures and such, that's definitely going to help later on. So stay consistent with the good habits, especially I think when you're starting off in grad school, because once you get towards like later on in the courses where like it's like more quizzes, exams, or qualifying exams. You've taken each day to build brick by brick your foundation, your wall of knowledge. And so because you've taken each day to build a brick, now when it comes to actually like fight or whatever, to defend for your qualifying exam, you have this nice big fortress because you spent so many days staying consistent, being on top of your things. So stay consistent, trust in the process, and yeah, you got this. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Look forward to seeing you next week.